Ben Volin is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. He's the senior NFL writer for the Boston Globe, and he witnessed the Dolphins-Patriots game. What were your thoughts after the game, Ben? Like, did it solidify what you had thought about the Dolphins after the preseason and week one and the Patriots, or did you see something different Sunday where you said, oh, this is interesting, I didn't realize this team was blank?
I mean, I guess both teams showed me something different in that, like, Tua and the offense and the Dolphins offense didn't just completely fold up like they did the week before in Indianapolis. They had a pretty good day. Tua came away with good numbers. The Dolphins couldn't get it together at the end. And the Patriots defense, again, I thought this would be the unit that they could hang their hat on. And second week in a row, the Patriots defense has been picked apart, and they made a couple plays at the end, but if Devon Achane doesn't step out of bounds, I mean, the Dolphins very well are winning that game. So I guess surprised to see the Dolphins do a little bit better than everyone's talking about, and the Patriots do worse. That said, I think the final drive by the Dolphins says it all. I mean, the Dolphins had multiple delay of game penalties, had to use a timeout when the clock was stopped, like couldn't get the calls in, just complete dysfunction, which is what I expected of the Dolphins this year. It just didn't ever seem like Mike McDaniel, really had command over the team. And to see the Dolphins just kind of, puking on their own feet, in the last drive there was just, the epitome of all of that, I guess. So, you know what, I think the Dolphins did show some fight, but, obviously, as you guys know, they have a long way to go and are facing a pretty tough task this week in Buffalo.
Hey, been a long way to go after 4 years. That kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth.
25 years.
Well, with McDaniel for 4 years, Ben, I watched the Atlanta Minnesota game that night, and I'm like, okay, these are 2 first-year starters. They have to have some process problems throughout the game, and Penix. They couldn't get the call into Penix, and Penix started cussing and yelling at the sideline. And then JJ McCarthy threw a bad ball, whatever, and Kevin O'Connell went crazy on him. Am I making too much of that? Because you never see Tua get mad. You never see McDaniel get mad. You never see that uncomfortable situation that I think make teams better.
Well, and if anyone was the king of that, it was Tom Brady. I mean, he would always get fiery on the sidelines. I hate being the body language police, though, Channing. I mean, with Tua, every player is different. Every player gets pumped up differently. I think it's pretty clear that the Dolphins believe that Tua needs a lot of positive reinforcement. I mean, you've seen that now for the last 4 years, ever since they got rid of Brian Flores. Maybe he does need some harder coaching. I just think with the Dolphins, like, the owner, Stephen Ross, doesn't do a good job of recognizing when a run has come to an end. And he always holds a coach on like a year too long. Like, he kept Tony Sparano too long, then fired him midseason. Did the same thing with Joe Philbin. And it seems like the same thing's going to happen with Mike McDaniel. You could see the train coming off the tracks toward the end of last season. The fact that these guys have never been able to win in December and January under Mike McDaniel. Like, there were clear signs that his program had run its course and it was time to start over. And instead, Stephen Ross just tried to run it back and hope to catch lightning in a bottle, I guess. And here we are, and it's going to be the same old thing. They're going to start 0-3 probably, and once they go 1-5, Mike McDaniel's going to lose his job, and you have to finish out the season with another interim head coach. So it feels like the more things change, the more they stay the same, and it's just the definition of insanity down there in Miami.
And what do you do, Ben, if you're the Dolphins in this case? It seems like you're speaking like it's inevitable that this is going to happen. What do you do then with Tua Tagovailoa? I mean, if you're the Dolphins, you paid him, you kind of have to play him at least this season and then maybe next season as well as like a stopgap. Like, do you just go start drafting quarterbacks? Like, how do you see the future of the organization as it pertains to Tua and his long-term future in Miami?
I mean, it looks like they're stuck with him. I haven't looked at his contract in the last couple of weeks. I remember looking at it over the summer and trying to find all the ways that the Dolphins could get out. And I mean, they're mostly stuck with the guy. They might be able to pull what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson, where they basically paid him $37 million to go away, and he played for free basically for the Steelers next year. I mean, I guess the Dolphins could try to buy Tua out, but it's like $53 million or $55 million, which is a lot. And good luck even finding a team willing to take half of that. I don't think many teams around the league even want Tua at 30 to 35 million. They'd rather either, find a cheaper veteran that they could try to rehabilitate like a Daniel Jones, or draft their own guy for a fraction of the cost. So I think that was a very misguided contract extension that the Dolphins signed with Tua. I think they panicked. They could have waited longer with him. And they're locked in now, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it.
Is there a pathway, Ben, for Thursday night to not be embarrassed? I'm not even saying to win. I was saying to Solana when the show started, Thursday night to me feels like a TV show that I can't wait to see the next episode, whether it was The Office or Seinfeld, whatever it was, or Sopranos, right? When Sopranos was on and you couldn't wait for Sunday night because you thought you knew what was going to happen, but they always had amazing twists. And I feel that way about Thursday night. I think I know what's going to happen, man. They telegraphed it to me in the previous episodes. And somehow I always ended up being surprised. Is there a pathway to me being surprised Thursday night?
It probably involves Josh Allen getting stuck in traffic or breaking his nose further, or, a natural disaster, So some sort of act of God is probably what it's going to take for the Dolphins to pull this off. The Bills, their defense looked problematic in week 1, but that was against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Tua, I just don't think is going to provide the same type of issues for the Bills defense. And, the Bills offense, I don't know if it's totally clicking, yet, either with Josh Allen and kind of his weapons, where it does feel like he might need more help at receiver as the season goes on. So maybe the Dolphins, can clamp down on Josh Allen, but it's not like the Dolphins defense has done anything through 2 weeks. So I don't know how you could have confidence in that. I think just make drinking games out of the game and just try to have fun, because if you're expecting the Dolphins to win, I think you're going to be, pretty upset about it.
Just try to have fun, Ben. That's a great way to watch a game.
Go to
Just
the
try
cheetah.
to have fun.
Go to the cheetah, man. That's exactly what I was saying.
Ben, AFC East, Drake Maye, because you've been high on Drake Maye. Now you've seen him a couple games. He looks like hell. He was Michael Vick against the Dolphins, but it was the Dolphins defense with that secondary. Is Drake what you've been selling us, I'll say? What you've been selling us last year and this year? Is Drake Maye coming around to be one of those guys?
Well, I think I have a lot more, higher expectations for him than I did for Mac Jones. And you could see it just in that 2-play stretch in the third quarter, where first he stepped up in the pocket, avoided the rush, and threw a perfect pass down the field to Ramondre Stevenson in stride, 55-yard play. Mac Jones was not making plays like that, didn't have the physical skills really to be making plays like that. And the Patriots didn't have much of a downfield threat, the last few years, but Drake Maye has had a couple of these downfield type passes now. So that was big time. And then 2 plays later, he, outruns Matthew Judon around the corner and scampers into the end zone. The Patriots haven't had a quarterback with athleticism like Drake Maye has too. So he's still very young. He's only 23 years old. That was the game on Sunday was just the second time in his career he won a game that he started and finished. So, that was a big step for Drake Maye. And, the Patriots, I think they really simplified things. It was a lot of quick throws over the middle to the slot receiver and the tight end. It was not he had some of the fewest air yards in the league this week. So it was a lot of quick, short throws. Josh McDaniel did a good job of simplifying things and making it so that Drake Maye could just kind of make one read and know where to go with the ball. So, a nice performance from him and a good stepping stone, but obviously no one's ready to call him the franchise quarterback yet.
Hey, Ben, big picture in the AFC, you're talking about the Bills and Josh Allen. Obviously, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, probably the 2 favorites to win the AFC this season, with Kansas City starting 0-2. A, are you buying the Chiefs with their current core, their run's kind of over after the 2 losses? And B, is it now or never for Josh Allen and the Bills? It has to be this season for them?
No, I still don't see it as now or never. Just because what is Josh Allen? 29 years old. I mean, he still has a pretty long runway ahead of him. He might have to change his style a little bit as he gets older, but I don't see it as now or never for Josh Allen. It might be now or never for Sean McDermott, who I think the owner there has shown more than enough patience for Sean McDermott to see if he can get the team to the Super Bowl. And if he can't, I mean, I think it's kind of one of those Tony Dungy, John Gruden situations where the Bills, if they don't do it this year, they should look to find a new coach who can take them over the top. As far as the Chiefs, I am buying that they're done. They look dead, man. They look like the same team that got blown out of the Super Bowl. The only offense they have is when Mahomes runs around and improvises something. They're throwing to this guy, Tyquan Thornton, who wasn't even good enough to make the Patriots last year. He was, released by the Patriots, and now he's the Chiefs' deep threat. They need to call the Dolphins like yesterday and go get Tyreek Hill. I think the Dolphins would love to get rid of Tyreek Hill, and I think the Chiefs could handle bringing a guy like that back. And they need some more playmakers for Patrick Mahomes. They'll get Rashee Rice back, but they still need someone like Tyreek Hill. So the Chiefs and Dolphins, they really need to get that trade done.
And Ben, let's say I don't know, like you said, Josh Allen gets a flat tire and can't play the first half. They go 1-2 because I don't think they have a chance of beating the Bills in Buffalo on a short week. But should the Tyreek Hill trade just be inevitable no matter what the schedule is? Because he can still play. Tyreek would get something back for you. You can't trade, you can't trade Darren Waller for something, but Tyreek would get you a couple picks back. Is that an inevitable trade for the Dolphins?
I think so, and I think the return will be based also off of how much contract the Dolphins are willing to eat. If they're willing to eat some salary, then they could definitely get a good pick back. But if they're expecting the Chiefs to pick up everything on his contract, then you're probably looking at a mid to a late round pick. Because I think everyone knows the Dolphins would love to get rid of Tyreek Hill because he's as good as he's been on the field. He's just been such a headache for them and such a bad influence in the locker room. And I definitely think if they got rid of him, it could be one of those addition by subtraction things where, now you're looking for other people for leadership who maybe are better suited for the role. And maybe Jalen Waddle can have more of an impact on the offense. I definitely think that trading Tyreek Hill is inevitable, and especially because I don't think the Dolphins' playoff chances are going to be that good throughout the season.
Yeah, neither do we. Ben Volin from the Boston Globe. Thank you, Ben. We always appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.